Vega 7 was a beautiful colony. It had blue skies, tall green trees, and clean rivers. Over 1 million people lived there. Families, workers, scientists, they all called Vega 7 their home. It was far from Earth, almost 20 light-years away. But it was peaceful, safe, or so everyone thought. Then, one day, the silence began. At first, Earth's control center thought it was a small problem, maybe a broken satellite, maybe a storm. It happened before, but this time, something was different. No signals came, no messages, not even a weather report. Vega 7 had gone completely dark. The control center tried again, and again. Still nothing. On the third day, a broken signal came through. The screen lit up with static, then a shaky video appeared. People were running. Buildings were burning. Explosions flashed in the background. A woman screamed. Then a deep, strange sound was heard, like metal twisting and glass shattering. The image flickered, and then they heard a voice. "They're here." The screen went black. Everyone in the control room stood frozen. No one spoke. Some stared at the screen. Some looked away. A few had tears in their eyes. It was the last message from Vega 7. They replayed the message, again and again. Slow motion, zoom in, audio enhanced. But the attackers were hard to see, fast, shadowy, not human. Earth's leaders met at once. Military generals, scientists, the Earth president. They all sat in silence, watching the final signal from Vega 7. Then, the president spoke one line: "Prepare the Armada." Across Earth, Luna, and Mars, the war alarms were sounded. The people of Earth remembered an old saying, "We are kind, but not weak." That night, every news channel showed the same headline: Vega 7 destroyed. Humanity prepares for war. Families cried for their loved ones. Soldiers packed their bags. Factories turned on their machines. Earth was not just sad. Earth was angry. In a small house near the ocean, a little girl asked her father, "Why are we going to war?" Her father looked at her with tired eyes. "He was a pilot, called back to duty." "Because they made a mistake," he said. "They touched our people." In deep space, near the ruins of Vega 7, a lone cargo ship floated silently. It had escaped the attack by hiding in a nearby asteroid field. The crew sent a message to Earth. The ships didn't look like metal. They looked alive, like something growing. The message was short. The crew didn't last long after that. Something found them. Something fast. Back on Earth, scientists looked at the last image from Vega 7. They tried to find the enemy in the background, frame by frame. But the shapes were strange. Like shadows with sharp edges. Like machines, but breathing. "They didn't come to talk," said one general. "They came to kill." No one knew their name. No one knew what they wanted. But Earth knew what it had to do. In the deep underground base of Europa Station, giant screens showed rows of numbers. Ship count, 72,040 troops. Ready, 4.2 million time. To launch, 51 days. These numbers were only the beginning. The goal was clear: build the biggest war fleet in human history. 700,000 ships. No less. On Mars, an old soldier stood outside a military base. He had lost his son on Vega 7. Now he stood with others, all returning to service. "They think we'll cry," he said. "Let's show them how humans fight." As night fell on Earth, the stars above looked the same, peaceful, quiet. But people knew better now. They knew the truth. One colony had fallen. Millions were gone. Now 700,000 warships would rise. And somewhere, far beyond the stars, the enemy was waiting. The stars above Earth were quiet. But deep in the dark, something deadly was moving. Something no one could name. Earth's leaders searched for answers. Who destroyed Vega 7? Why? Was it a war, a message, or just a warning? The scientists ran tests on the last signal. The video was dark, broken, full of static. But one frame showed something strange. A shadow, tall and sharp. Not human. Its eyes glowed red. "It's not a machine," said Dr. Liana Poe. "It's alive and angry." She had studied over 50 alien species. None matched what she saw. Not even close. General Voss slammed his fist on the table. "So we're blind, fighting a ghost." "No," Dr. Poe replied. "Not a ghost. A predator." Meanwhile, the space around Vega 7 was being watched. Earth sent small scout drones to explore the ruins. Most never came back. One drone sent a short video before it was destroyed. It showed black ships floating above the broken colony. They had no engines, no lights, but they moved, fast and smooth, like sharks in water, and they made no sound. The AI inside Earth's command center gave a name, unknown hostile entity detected. But humans needed something simpler. The media called. Them, the silent swarm. In spaceport cities across Earth, whispers began. Who are they? Why didn't they speak? Why did they kill everyone? Nobody knew. But everyone felt the same thing. Fear. Still, fear was not enough to stop humans. If anything, it made them stronger. In the shadow of Earth's great defense tower, Admiral Cora stood before her officers. "We don't know who they are," she said, "but we know what they did. They burned our colony. They killed our families. They came without a name. But we will give them one. Enemy." Behind her, a giant screen showed the words, "Operation Earth's Wrath. Begin Phase 1 on the Moon." A small group of survivors landed quietly. They had escaped Vega 7 in a stolen transport ship. Only 14 of them were alive. Most were injured. One of them, a boy just 11 years old, said something that shocked everyone. "They didn't just kill us," he whispered. "They were eating us." The room went silent. "What do you mean?" asked the nurse. The boy looked at the stars outside the window. They didn't use weapons. They used teeth. In a dark room deep under Mars' command, Earth's top spy met with the president. His voice was calm, but his face was pale. "They've done this before," he said. "What?" the president asked. "Destroyed others, not just us." He dropped a file on the table. Inside were images, dead alien worlds, empty colonies, the same pattern. Total silence, no survivors. They're not new. They're old, very old, and very good at one thing, erasing life. Now Earth had no choice. They didn't know what these creatures wanted. But they knew one thing. If humanity didn't strike now, they might be next. And so the war factories worked faster. Pilots trained day and night. Soldiers said goodbye to their families. Even the peaceful joined the fight. Because this was no longer about just one colony. This was about survival. A small message was sent across every human screen. They came in silence. We answer with fire. Earth had made its decision. They would not hide. They would not beg. They would build the largest war fleet in human history, 700,000 ships. Across the solar system, lights came on. Factories opened, engines roared. Humanity was going to war. The moon colony of Luna became the center of production. Giant machines cut metal night and day. Robots and humans worked side by side. No one slept. No one complained. On Mars, fire burst from the ground as thousands of new warships were launched into orbit. A pilot on Mars, Captain Rafe, looked up at the growing sky fleet. He said quietly, "They destroyed our home. Now we destroy theirs." In the icy tunnels of Europa, Earth's best engineers built something new. A weapon, one the enemy had never seen. "We call it the Sun Spear," said Dr. Veln. "One shot can melt a planet." "But why build such a weapon?" someone asked. Dr. Veln looked straight ahead. Because they started this. We'll finish it. The news spread fast. Earth was rising. People across all colonies gave what they could, money, materials, even their homes. Retired soldiers returned to duty. Young ones lined up to join. A girl from Titan, just 17, begged to be trained. My brother died on Vega 7, she said. I want to fight. And they trained her. The fleet grew fast. Each warship had strong armor, smart AI, and powerful weapons. Some were big as cities. Others were fast as comets. Each one had a name: Honor, Revenge, Fury, Dawnbreaker, Ghostblade. But one ship was different. The lead ship, the biggest, the strongest, the Wrath of Earth. It stood over a mile long, armed. With the newest plasma cannons and shield tech, it would lead the 700,000 into battle. Admiral Cora was chosen to command it. She walked into the ship's bridge and said only 2 words: "Light it." The engines came to life. The ship was ready. But even with all this strength, Earth still had a problem. They didn't know where the enemy was hiding. The silent swarm had vanished after Vega 7. No signals, no ships, nothing. Every day, Earth's scout teams searched. Every night, people waited for news. Then one scout ship sent a message, a single word: found. But before the message could be completed, the ship was destroyed, burned out in seconds. The only thing that made it back was a blurry image. It showed something dark, huge, floating near a dead star, dozens of strange ships swarming around it. Like bees around a hive. It wasn't just a fleet. It looked like a nest. The president looked at the image and said, "We found them." Back on Earth, a group of young soldiers stood in front of a war map. One of them asked, "Do we really need 700,000 ships?" An old captain answered without looking up. "You don't understand," he said. "We're not fighting for land or power. We're fighting for our future. If we lose, there will be nothing left." In the final week before launch, a global message was sent. Every screen lit up with the same words: "This is not just war. This is justice. We are the voice of Vega 7. We are the 700,000. And so, the countdown began. Days to launch. 10 days to vengeance. 10 days until humanity's might filled the stars. The universe would never forget what came next. The war fleet was ready. 100,000 warships floated in space, waiting near Saturn's orbit. They formed a wall of power, metal, fire, and fury. From the smallest drone ships to the giant battleships, all were locked on one mission: find the enemy. End the threat. Inside the lead ship, Wrath of Earth, Admiral Cora stood on the bridge. She looked at the stars ahead, dark, empty, and quiet. "Any signal?" she asked. Her officer shook his head. "Still nothing, Admiral." But they all knew silence didn't mean safety. On the 4th day of the journey, the scouts spotted something: a broken asteroid field, dead metal, burned rocks. And something worse, a ship floating alone. It was human, one of the scout ships that had gone missing weeks ago. They brought it aboard carefully. There were no life signs, no power, just silence. The ship looked torn apart, scratched from the outside, like claws had ripped through the metal. The team sent a drone inside. It showed the ship's dark hallway, and something on the walls, symbols, drawn in blood. One looked like a warning. One looked like an eye. One kept repeating over and over. "They are inside." Everyone watched the footage in silence. The president, the generals, even the AI systems paused. "What does it mean?" someone asked. No one answered. Then the drone picked up a sound, scratching, slow, soft, like something moving through the vents. Then the screen went black. Drone connection, lost. Admiral Cora gave the order. "Seal that wreck. Burn it. No risks." It was clear now. The monsters were close. 3 days later, near a dead star called Zeta 9, the fleet picked up something new, a signal. It was weak, strange, not human. The signal was not sound. It was a pulse, like a heartbeat. Slow, heavy, boom. Boom! Boom! It made some crew members feel sick. One soldier said it felt like something was looking inside his mind. Then the signal changed. Now it sounded like voices, but twisted, like 1,000 things speaking at once. You are food. The entire fleet went on red alert. Long-range ships moved into position. Drones were launched. Fighters armed their weapons. Then from behind the dark star, they came. Hundreds of them. Black ships, sharp and twisted, like bones and teeth. They moved like snakes. Fast, silent. They didn't talk. They attacked. The battle was chaos. Human warships fired plasma rounds, laser beams, and missiles. The enemy moved through it like shadows. Some were destroyed. Many weren't. One human ship, Courage 91, was sliced in half. No escape pods made it out. Admiral Cora watched from her ship. "Aim for their cores!" she shouted. Some ships listened. A few kills were made. The enemy did have weak spots, but they were hard to find. The monsters were fast, too fast. Then something worse appeared, a giant ship, bigger than anything seen before, not made of metal. It looked alive, breathing. Its surface moved like skin. It had no weapons. It didn't need them. It just opened and released hundreds of smaller things. Not ships, creatures. They flew through space with wings of fire. They screamed without sound, and they landed on ships like bugs on glass, tearing through metal, eating their way in. Inside Bladehawk 7, soldiers opened fire at close range. One shouted into the radio, "We're being boarded! These things don't die! They don't—" The message cut off. Admiral Cora made the hardest call. Fall back, regroup, pull them into the kill zone. Earth's fleet had a trap ready. Hidden cannons inside asteroids. Mines. A backup fleet waiting behind Saturn's rings. The monsters followed. And then, boom. The trap worked. Thousands of enemy ships were destroyed. Their creatures burned in space. But the price was high. Earth had lost over 60,000 ships in just one day. The monsters were beaten back, for now. But they had a message. They had power. And now, they had a name. The AI system gave the new classification. Hostile Species, 13. The Devourers back on Earth. The president watched the final battle footage. "We made contact," he said quietly. "Yes," whispered his advisor. "And now, we know what we're up against." The battlefield near Zeta 9 was silent again. The smoke of broken ships floated through space. Bodies, wreckage, fire. But there was no victory. The enemy was still alive. The Devourers had pulled back, not because they were weak, but because they were watching. Learning. Earth had lost over 60,000 ships in the first real fight. Families cried across every colony. The media showed destroyed ships. Names of the dead scrolled on every screen, but something worse than death had begun. The enemy had changed. In the next battle, the Devourers came with new tricks, shields, faster movement, stronger hulls. They were adapting to human weapons. Each time Earth fought, the monsters got smarter. It was no longer a war of fire. It was a war of secrets. Inside the wrath of Earth, Admiral Cora stood with her war council. "We need a new plan," she said. "They evolved too fast. If we attack the same way again, we lose." Dr. Liana Poe, the alien biologist, stepped forward. "We have one advantage," she said. "We think they have a queen." Everyone turned to her. "A queen?" The general asked. "Yes, one mind, many bodies. If we find her, we end it. To do that, Earth needed stealth. So the command sent out the Ghost Fleet. These were silent ships. No lights, no radio, no trace. They would search the dark corners of space. One of those ships was the Silent Echo. It held a team of elite spies and one brave AI named Iris-3. Their mission: find the Devourer's source. Without being seen, the journey was dangerous. Every hour the silent echo passed broken ships, floating bones, dead planets. The path was filled with death. Then they found something strange, an old alien station, abandoned, half destroyed. It wasn't human. Inside they found data, a message. It was a warning from another species, long dead. If you are reading this, run. They do not stop. They do not sleep. They do not speak. They only feed, and below that, a star map. A red circle marked one system, a place no human had ever entered. The Black Nest. Back on Earth, a secret meeting began. Only a few people were there: Admiral Cora, Dr. Poe, the President, and the AI Director. They looked at the map from the old station. "That's where the Queen is," Dr. Poe said. "But it's deep," Cora replied. "Past the edge of mapped space. And it's crawling with enemies," added the AI. The President stood up. "Then we don't send the army," he said. "We send ghosts." In the shadows, a new team was born. The humans called them Phantom Unit 9, soldiers with no ID, no family, no past. Trained in silence, armed with tech no one had ever seen. Their job: get inside the nest and kill the Queen. They had only one rule: don't be seen. Meanwhile, something strange happened on Earth. A secret lab went silent. The guards were found dead. The walls were torn, and on the security camera, a shape moved in the dark, fast, quiet. Not a human, a devourer, had reached Earth. The hidden war had begun, not just in space, but everywhere. Every human base, every colony, every dark corner of the system. The devourers were spreading, watching, waiting. And the final battle, it was coming fast. The stars grew darker. Phantom Unit 9 was deep behind enemy lines, moving through space no human had entered before. Their mission was clear: enter the Black Nest, kill the Queen, end the war. But no one truly knew what waited inside. Their ship, Shadow Viper, was built for stealth. It made no sound, left no signal. Even light bent around it. Inside, the team prepared in silence. No jokes, no fear. Captain Alara, the leader of Phantom Unit 9, checked the weapons and gave her team one look. No backup, no escape. We go in, quiet, and come out ghosts. The nest was not like a normal planet. It was alive, a floating mass in space, bigger than a moon, covered in strange black growth. It pulsed like a heart, glowed with dark light. Ships flew around it like insects. They didn't land on it. They grew out of it. The team entered through a hole on the side, like a wound. It wasn't metal. It was flesh. Their boots squished as they walked in. Inside, it was worse. The walls were soft and wet, breathing, sometimes whispering. Lights on their helmets flickered. Their radios clicked with strange sounds. One soldier, Rook, whispered, "This place is wrong. It's watching us." Alara held up a hand. "Quiet. Keep moving." As they went deeper, they saw horrors. Humans, half-eaten, trapped in cocoons, some still alive, begging to die. Old ships melted into the walls, symbols glowing in the dark, ones that hurt to look at. Then came the creatures, small ones at first, crawling, watching, testing. The team stayed silent. Blades only, no gunfire. But the deeper they went, the louder the nest became. Screams, growls, echoes. And then they found it. A massive chamber, a throne of bone and flesh. And there she was, the Queen, twice the size of a tank, long, sharp arms. Wings folded behind her, a face with no eyes, only mouths, hundreds of them. She was asleep, connected to every creature, controlling all of them. If she died... The war would shift. Ilara raised her weapon. This is it. But before she could fire, the chamber lit up. The Queen's mouths opened and screamed, not in sound, but inside their minds. Soldiers dropped to their knees, holding their heads. One began to bleed from his nose. Another started to laugh like a madman. The Queen was attacking their thoughts. Ilara screamed, "Imp, now!" The tech soldier triggered the device. A bright pulse filled the chamber. Silence. The screams stopped. The Queen shuddered. That was their moment. Ilara ran forward, planted a bomb at the heart of the chamber. The Queen opened her mouths again, but it was too late. "Light it up," Ilara said. Boom! The bomb exploded. Fire and light filled the chamber. Walls shook. The Queen roared as her body burned. But something else happened. Across the galaxy, Devourer ships stopped moving. Some crashed. Some turned wild, fighting each other. The connection was broken. The Queen was dying, but so was the nest. Back on the Shadow Viper, the pilot shouted, "The nest is collapsing! Get out now!" Ilara and her team ran, but the walls were closing in. Fire poured through tunnels. One soldier stayed behind to open a gate. "Go!" he yelled. "Tell Earth we did it!" They made it to the ship with seconds to spare. As they flew away, the nest fell in on itself, a black sun turning into dust. Back at Earth, the message came through. Mission complete. The Queen is dead. People cheered, cried, hugged for the first time. There was hope. But Ilara said one last thing into the radio. "It's not over yet. The Queen is dead. But something worse is coming." The Queen was dead. Across the galaxy, Devourer ships shut down. Some crashed into moons. Others floated lifeless. Colonies cheered. Soldiers hugged. For the first time in months of war. There was silence. But that silence didn't last. 3 days after the Queen's death, deep in space, Earth's sensors picked up something. A new signal, not from a ship, from a black hole. It was a call. Dark, heavy, and ancient. A signal that didn't come from any known tech. Admiral Cora stared at the data. "What is it?" she asked. Dr. Poe looked pale. "It's not a distress call. It's a summoning." The signal echoed across space. And then it came. A hole tore open in the stars, a gate, and from it, he arrived. A creature larger than planets. Not a ship, not a queen. Something else. The Devourers had called him their god. The one who sleeps, beyond time. The first feeder. He had no body, just shadows, fire, and 1,000 screaming voices. He didn't fly. He floated through gravity itself, and wherever he went, suns died. Back on Earth, chaos started again. Old Devourer eggs hidden underground began to hatch. People turned mad just from hearing the new signal. Ships refused to start. AI systems glitched. The stars grew darker. And then, the final message came from Phantom Unit 9. "We killed the Queen, but we woke the King." The last council was called. On Earth, Mars, Titan, all leaders joined. "What do we do?" someone asked. President Rains stood tall. "We fight, one last time, with everything we have." Admiral Cora nodded. "Then this will be humanity's final stand." The call went out. Every warship, every drone, every pilot. Not just from Earth, but from all human colonies. Over 1 million ships gathered near Neptune. The enemy was coming fast, carrying fire and death. But this time, so was humanity. The battle was unlike anything before. Space itself seemed to rip apart. The first feeder roared. His scream shut down half the fleet in seconds. But humans fought back. They used new weapons. Gravity bombs, star spears, void mines. Some pilots flew straight into the enemy, sacrificing themselves to buy seconds. Then, Earth's AI, Sentinel-9, made a decision. It activated the Omega Protocol, a weapon never tested before, a sun-level explosion, inside the first feeder. But it needed to be placed. From the inside, Ilara, the leader of Phantom Unit 9, volunteered. "I started this," she said. "Let me finish it." Her ship, the Shadow Viper, carried the Omega bomb straight into the heart of the beast. It burned. It broke apart. But it made it her last words. For Earth. Then came the light, a white fire brighter than 10 stars. The first feeder screamed, twisted, and then vanished. The war was over, for real this time. Silence returned to the stars. Humanity had paid a heavy price, millions lost, colonies destroyed, but they had survived. A year later, a statue was built on Earth. It showed a woman in armor, standing, tall, holding a broken flag. The words below, "We were pushed, we were hunted, but we did not break. Humanity stands." And far away in the dark of space, one devourer egg floated, still alive, still waiting.